Is Zach Edey legit? The NBA Summer League has been just getting started, and some of the players that have just been drafted out of college have not done too well, while others have done fantastic. That's to be expected. Not everybody's going to come right into the NBA and have their first performance in the Summer League go great. And that doesn't necessarily mean if you have a bad performance in your first game that you're going to be a bust. You could still end up being a great player. And for some players that have a fantastic first performance, they could still end up not having a good NBA career. So all of this is overreaction after one game. It's not to say for sure whether a player is going to be fantastic or not. But one player that you guys know far too well that I've spoke negatively in the past about is Zach Edey. And I've been on record saying that I don't feel like he is going to have a great NBA career because I think he's too slow. And even though he has a very dominant lower body, and that's going to help him be able to bang down low, it's just not going to be as easy for him to score in the NBA as it was for him in college, where the centers are a lot tougher, and he's not going to really just be able to rely on his size alone. He's going to have improved footwork, and he's going to have to be able to run the floor to get back on defense to be able to actually be effective on defense and be able to run the floor quick enough on offense to be actually effective for his team's offensive scheme, because of the fact that he's not able to get down the floor quick enough, then his teammates are just going to basically initiate the offense without him, and then he's not going to have any success at all. But I think Zach Edey might have proved me wrong after one game. And like I said, it could be an overreaction on my part, but look at his stat line. In his first Summer League game, it just wrapped up against the Utah Jazz. Zach Edey had 14 points and 15 rebounds, 4 blocks on 7 of 12 shooting in 33 minutes in an overtime loss. So even though his Memphis Grizzlies team did not win, Zach Edey actually helped the Memphis Grizzlies almost get the job done, because he sent the game to overtime with a miraculous tip-in, as the ESPN article says right there. But it was a pretty good play, and he played well all game. And it's not like he was going up against a very short center for the Utah Jazz. Walker Kessler was his main competition in the game, and Walker Kessler has been in the NBA for a couple years now. So I wouldn't say he's a veteran or anything, but he's still a player that out of most of the guys in the Summer League, he has some of the most experience of all the guys playing in the Summer League, being in the NBA. He's actually had success for the Jazz the last couple of years, even though some people would say that he has regressed. But Zach Edey was not really bothered by Walker Kessler throughout much of the game, outside of a couple of isolated plays. And Zach Edey definitely won the matchup in the game. And another player that did not have a good game for the Utah Jazz that Zach Edey was also going against was Kyle Filipowski, who I also have said in the past, I felt that Filipowski, Khalil Ware, Alex Sarr, they were all going to perform better than Zach Edey in the NBA. Now, Khalil Ware's having a great NBA Summer League, so he could end up having a better career than Zach Edey. Alex Sarr should be a fantastic player, but Kyle Filipowski, again, overreaction after one game, but he was very disappointing in the matchup tonight, not even scoring a point, and he had a worse debut than Bronny James, which that's pretty sad. Bronny James definitely struggled in the Los Angeles Lakers' first NBA Summer League game, and then he didn't even play in the second game because he supposedly has an injury, which I just think that's the Lakers protecting Bronny, because he didn't play all that well in that first game, and they don't want him to look bad in the next game, and then that's going to get more people talking about Bronny. But it is what it is for him. Bronny James not having a good start to his career, but still, only time will tell how all these players end up turning out in the NBA. But Filipowski having a rough start to his NBA career, especially because he's got all these allegations going on as well with his girlfriend and everything. That's absolutely insane. But to get back on track with Zach Edey, he did not have a bad debut at all whatsoever, and I was not expecting him to play this well. And a lot of people on social media are letting me know that, because they know I have not been high on Zach Edey the past few years. Even when he first started getting really good at Purdue and people started jumping on the Zach Edey bandwagon, I was not buying it. I'm like, it's because he's in the Big Ten. It's the style of play, the physicality of the Big Ten in college basketball. It's a slower conference. Teams do not run up and down the floor that much in that league outside of a team like Iowa. And Zach Edey, he's not going to be able to replicate what he is doing right now in the NBA. But I do believe that what team you get drafted to makes a difference. And the Memphis Grizzlies, they are a pick and roll type of team, and they're going to be a team that I believe actually helps Zach Edey out more in the NBA, more so than a lot of other teams would, in the NBA if Zach Edey got drafted somewhere else. So even though I felt that Zach Edey should not have been a top 10 pick, maybe the Memphis Grizzlies are the right team for him, because when he's going to be playing in the NBA in a few months, the starting offense for the Grizzlies have much better guards that can pass the ball, including John Morant, Marcus Smart. They're going to be able to help Zach Edey down low, get him the ball a lot better than his summer league teammates just did in this game. But Zach Edey's going to be going up against those better centers. I still think he's going to struggle some. I'm not doing a complete 360 where I'm like, after one game, Zach Edey's going to be a fantastic NBA player. You're not going to see me do that. You're never going to see me flip-flop that quickly on something like that. But if Zach Edey does continue to prove me wrong and he ends up having a fantastic career in the NBA, I will keep looking back on what I said in the past to say that Zach Edey, he proved me wrong. He ended up being fantastic in the NBA when I wasn't expecting him to, but it's still one game. It's definitely an overreaction to say that he's legit or for real. But I think that Zach Edey is proving a lot of his doubters wrong, that he can compete in the NBA. This was a fantastic first game for him, even though his team did not win. But it does not matter. The Summer League is not about whether you win the game or not. It's about how you look as a player yourself and how you're performing relative to your teammates and your opponents as well. And I think Zach Edey had one of the most impressive Summer League performances so far. Keontae George did fantastic for the Utah Jazz, and Khalil Wares looked good for the Miami Heat. But Zach Edey's double-double and several blocks was by far more impressive of a game than I was expecting him to have in his Summer League debut, and especially going up against a tall center in Walker Kessler as well. Like I said, I'm not saying that this means that Zach Edey's going to be legit, but I do feel that this Summer League performance, and if he can continue to back it up with more solid performances, will prove that Zach Edey's going to carve himself out a role in the NBA and possibly be a much better player in the league than I previously thought. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, whether you've always been on the Zach Edey bandwagon and you felt that he was just going to crush it in the NBA no matter what, or if you were like me and you were very skeptical of Zach Edey, and if you're still skeptical that he's not going to have a great career in the NBA like I kind of still am, or whether your skepticism has flipped and you think he's going to have a fantastic NBA career, and what your thoughts are on the Kyle Filipowski situation and you feel that he's going to turn it around after this bad performance. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I'll see you next time.